I spent the day going around some of London's finest watch boutiques. I'm talking about IWC, Panerai, JLC, Rolex, Cartier. And look, when you're surrounded by watches that cost 10, 20, 30,000 pounds, you start to feel a very specific way about your life choices. But look, here's the thing. The watch that genuinely stopped me in my tracks, the one I couldn't stop thinking about on the tube on the way home, cost only just over £1,000. It was essentially one of the cheapest watches I checked out, but it genuinely impressed me from a value proposition. Stick around, I want to tell you about that watch, and of course I've left it to the end. I want to say thank you to Chris and Outlier for sponsoring this video. Let's get into it. So first up, IWC, and for those that don't know, I've mentioned it so many times on the channel, the Ingenieur is my favorite integrated bracelet sports watch. They recently came out at Watches and Wonders with a blue dial variant in 35mm. Now they didn't have that in the boutique, they had the white version with the white dial, and so I tried that on, and I think it confirmed for me that I prefer the larger version, which is around 40mm in the Ingenieur, because it doesn't actually wear bigger. Typically when we talk about integrated bracelet watches, they tend to wear bigger than that diameter suggests. However, with the Ingenieur, because of how brilliant the bracelet and how seamless the bracelet is, that 35mm diameter version of the watch, as much as I thought it was brilliant, I actually think I prefer the larger size. Anyway, still a beautiful watch, and that blue dial, I think it's great. It's a great addition to the lineup. But look, they brought out an absolute brilliant watch for me to check out, and this was the Ingenieur Perpetual calendar in titanium. You know, if you watch a channel, the 40mm titanium version of the Ingenieur is my favorite, and it's on my list. I need to save up a lot more money to do that and to get that. But look, listen, this Perpetual calendar in titanium, I was not prepared for how good this felt on the wrist. A perpetual calendar means a watch accounts for every month length, every leap year for the next 100+ years, without you ever needing to correct the date. The movement is doing some serious heavy lifting mechanically, and because it's titanium, it genuinely wears light for something that is so complex. Now, it's of course on the thicker side compared to the normal Ingenieur, but the dial is just immaculate, especially this sort of monochromatic look that this perpetual calendar comes in. It's clean, it's considered. It feels like nothing's really wasted with this watch. And then I asked the price. Of course it was around £40,000, and so there was a long pause, and I mean, look, it is what it is. £40,000. I carefully put it back in the case and respectfully gave it back to the gentleman and thanked him for allowing me to get hands on with the watch.
Meanwhile,
we then went to another boutique, which by the way I don't often visit, but I wanted to see what they released at Watches and Wonders. And now I've got to be honest with you, Panerai's Watches and Wonders releases didn't really impress me, to be honest. The 44mm diameter cases, and the thing is, look, not every release from a brand is going to hit. Panerai has never been a brand that has really resonated with me. However, there was one watch that caught my eye, which had nothing to do with the new releases at all. This was the PAM 01640 Luminor GMT, a 40mm diameter case, steel, £9,100, and this particular 40mm configuration paired with the new bracelet that I genuinely, you'd never really tend to associate with Panerai. It surprised me, especially when I tried it on. The proportions just felt right. The bracelet has a certain quality and elegance and a certain uniqueness, I think, and it sits on a wrist in a way that felt almost refined compared to what I had anticipated. Really opened my eyes up actually, because I never really tried on, you know, the 38mm Panerai, the 40mm Panerai in this case, and I don't have a GMT. Is it for me? Probably not, but I have to say I appreciated it. It may not be a Jags watch in the future, but I can totally appreciate why someone would choose this GMT and this brand and this configuration. It's a genuine tool watch with credibility, proper heritage, and a robust identity, I think, you know, and its particular dial here, again, very understated. I was a fan, and I walked away from that boutique thinking, finally a Panerai that I can see myself wearing in the future and that I actually genuinely like. I then checked out, of course, Rolex, and you know, I didn't even take any footage because there was nothing really to write home on. Two watches that I did see that were new releases with the motif dial. Now, I featured that watch in the worst watches of Watches and Wonders, and it confirmed for me that it was not for me. It's just not my personal taste. And one watch that surprised me was the anniversary edition of the Oyster Perpetual with the yellow gold bezel and that sort of silvery rhodium dial with the green accents. The footage and the pictures I saw from Watches and Wonders, I thought it looked very nice, but I have to be honest, when I saw it in person, it was not for me whatsoever. I don't think the Rolex lighting does it any favors. A lot of people have complained about the Rolex lighting. A watch that wasn't for me, and so I have to be honest, the releases from Rolex at Watches and Wonders this year were a little underwhelming, and I didn't spend much time in the boutique, I have to say. Now, there's been a bit of a common theme with the watches I've mentioned so far, and that they have been all very expensive, I have to say. So if you are wanting to save up a little bit more money for your next watch, Chris is the guy to go and check out. He has some incredible videos on his channel. If you want to learn how to trade, he has a no BS sort of approach that I personally resonated with. He puts his money where his mouth is. This is not financial advice from me. Go take it from a professional, guys. Go check out his videos. Thanks to Chris for being a long-term supporter of the channel, and thanks to Outlier. I then went to JLC, guys, because I told you that their Master Control release this year, the integrated sports bracelet watch, whatever you want to call it, was a real winner for me. Now, I have to say, I was a little bit disappointed because they didn't have the watches for me to be hands-on with, but the sales assistant showed me many videos, also sent these videos to me so I could get really understand the way the watch played with the light and the way it looks, because certain professional images and pictures don't really do it justice. But I have to say, that power reserve iteration of the watch where you've got the two subdials, absolutely beautiful. The integrated bracelet on this, incredible. Now, I'm going to go back to this boutique in around June. She said that they will have the prototypes back again. I love the date version of this as well, the 369 version of the watch. This has thrown a spanner in the works for me because I am going to get hands-on in June, and I could easily see this taking over the Ingenieur for me when it comes to being my favorite integrated bracelet sports watch. It's going to take some beating because the Ingenieur, really from a design perspective and just the aesthetics of it, I absolutely love that watch. The only thing that lets that watch down for me is the movement. I don't think the movement is of the same caliber of the watch and the price for that matter. However, the JLC, the movement there, that, you know, cost certification, the open case back, the finishing, I think is worthy of that £12,500 price point for the date version. Absolutely beautiful. Really nice saleswoman, by the way. She was absolutely brilliant. I think the boutique on New Bond Street is great as well, so go and check it out. I can't wait to get hands-on with that watch. I did then go into Lange very briefly because the Saxonia 36mm annual calendar they released at Watches and Wonders was a watch I wanted to get hands-on with. Again, I was disappointed. They didn't have any for me to get hands-on with. I had a little look around their flagship boutique, and they had a couple of exclusive models at the New Bond Street, because I didn't know actually it was a flagship boutique that they recently opened. Really, really nice experience. They had this Lange 1 in platinum, which you can only get from that boutique, my understanding is. Absolutely brilliant. I will go back there to get hands-on with the Saxonia, apparently sort of around again June, July time. I'm a little bit early to the party, let's put it that way. I then went to Cartier because again I wanted to get hands-on with some of the new releases. However, I was disappointed, but it gave me the opportunity to get hands-on with two watches I've been wanting to get hands-on with for a long time. Firstly, the titanium Cartier Santos with the brushed bezel that fixed the problem of that scratch magnet polished bezel in the steel variant. And look, it was large. As much as I liked that titanium version of the Santos, I don't think I would ever consider buying the large variant of that watch. I have 6 3/4 inch wrists, and I think I would prefer the medium version of the Santos. It's still a brilliant watch. It's so much more sporty in the titanium if you haven't got hands on with it. Of course, lightweight as well. I was impressed, and it would just be nice to see them bring out a titanium version in the medium. But the one that really stole my heart was the Santos Dumont skeleton with a micro rotor, but not any micro rotor, my friends. The micro rotor is shaped like a biplane because Alberto Santos Dumont was the Brazilian aviation pioneer that Louis Cartier originally designed the Santos for at the turn of the 20th century. The man literally flew biplane, so the movement is paying a tribute to the man who made the watch necessary. It is one of the most thoughtful pieces of design storytelling I've encountered on a dial, and I think it's the most impressive Cartier watch I've got hands on with. I stood there for sort of 10-15 minutes just looking at the dial and just looking at the intricacies of that rotor and the skeletonized movement, the open dial, the way the light caught the finishing. It's £30,000 for the steel variant of the watch, and the proportions were perfect. I'm not going to say I'm going to buy it because it's £30,000, but I can appreciate it, and I really did appreciate it that day. Absolutely beautiful. Maybe one day, guys, if Jags Watches goes to the next level. By the way, going to the next level, around 80% of you that watch my videos are not subscribed, so please subscribe if you've been enjoying the content, that is. Following Cartier, the final stop for me was Time and Tide. I love to go to Time and Tide because there's so many micro brands in there that you can get hands on with, and if you can't get hands on with them anywhere else. But there was one in particular, one release I wanted to really get hands on with that impressed me the most out of the whole day. But firstly, let's talk about the Beaucraft GMT because it was a release that again I knew was recently sort of announced, and I was pleasantly surprised. I think the case is a little big for my wrists. It didn't sit as nicely as I would have liked it to sit on the wrist, but it was again really, really impressive. Time and Tide have also collaborated with Beaucraft to come out with a special edition to the watch with a really cool dial. Go and check that out as well. I think if you're looking for a GMT, it's a great option. I've got to be honest, guys. Look, I've got to talk about Christopher Ward and their newly updated Sealander range. Now, I'm going to say this now because this video is not sponsored by Christopher Ward. I often see a lot of comments and a lot of negativity about YouTubers talking about Christopher Ward. I have no affiliation to them. I was just genuinely impressed by the update that they gave to the Sealander range. And I've got to be a little bit careful because, again, the negativity I see sometimes on YouTube, I don't want it to come across like I'm exaggerating. I was just genuinely impressed. And I mean every word I'm about to say. There were two variants that I got hands on with. There was the 36mm Sealander with the Tiffany blue dial and then a pink dial. Clearly, you can see that this is a very similar sort of layout and to the Oyster Perpetual. And that's what it reminded me of, especially because of the colors of the dial, right? But the lacquered paint make this range just feel a lot more vibrant, a lot more expensive, especially with the new indices added and the new movement with the extended power reserve. The bracelet with the patented, you know, toolless micro adjust, as well as being able to remove the links without using a tool. All these things, you know, they've really improved the watch. I also got hands on with the 36mm GMT. If you're going for the GMT, I think the 36mm is a little too small. You've got to go for the 39, I think it is. But the lacquer dial, for example, just gives this incredible depth to the dial alongside those new indices. I was just really blown away by how much these small little improvements genuinely improved the watch dramatically, if I'm going to be honest, because my friend Vishan has colored Oyster Perpetual and he got hands on with the watch. He didn't know how much they cost. I knew how much the watch cost, and when I told him this was just over £1,000, he couldn't quite believe it, because when you get hands on with it, you can see the quality and feel the quality. He really felt there wasn't much difference between the Rolex and the Christopher Ward. And I know that sounds ridiculous. I'm not saying that they're comparable by any means necessary, but I'm just so impressed by the fact that Christopher Ward have given you so many improvements to the watch, but yet the price has only just gone up a smidgen. They could have easily charged a lot more for this watch. That's all I'm saying, and that just makes me feel positive towards generally Christopher Ward. You know, it's clear they care about the enthusiast. All these little changes, quality of life changes, always have and bear the consumer in mind and the enthusiast in mind. These little things that I know, these details that you and I, OCD enthusiasts and addicts that we are, would truly appreciate. So all I'm saying is go and check these releases out, because the 36mm Sealander, for me, with the date, I'm seriously considering buying one of them to just add a little pop of color to my collection, because I don't have any color in my collection right now. A lot of people say I'm a little bit boring when it comes to my watch taste, but dare I say the pink was really enticing me, I have to say. And again, the bracelet, really comfortable. So in conclusion, what a day. I love watch shopping. I love going to check out watches and getting hands-on with watches. You know, the IWC with the Perpetual Canada that costs £40,000 and wears like it should cost more. A Panerai GMT that surprised me with a bracelet I wasn't ready to like. A JLC Master Control that genuinely complicated my integrated bracelet watch ranking in a way I'm still trying to process. And a Cartier Skeleton Dumont with a biplane micro rotor that made me feel things I'm not proud of. And after all of those amazing watches, it was the cheapest watch that made me think, God, Christopher Ward are just going from one level to another level, and they just keep impressing me. For just over £1,000, what a great proposition they came out with. And I think it's their best-selling line, the Sealander, so no doubt it will continue to be their best-selling line because they've just made a good watch even better. So I think the takeaway for me today was JLC, I need to get hands-on with. I'm in a conundrum there with what my favorite integrated bracelet watch is now because of that brilliant release. But I think the lesson from today is that price and quality don't always have to move together at a rate that the industry kind of wants us to believe. Sometimes a watch at the fraction of the price gets so much right that it quietly embarrasses everything sitting next to it. I think Christopher Ward got it right today, and again, this is not sponsored before the haters come at me in the comments. This was just me having a great day out with a friend going watch shopping. Let me know in the comments which one of these would actually make your collection, which one impressed you the most. Are you a JLC integrated bracelet person? Are you a Cartier Santos Dumont person? Or are you with me that the Christopher Ward was a sleeper hit of the day? If you've enjoyed this video, please do like, subscribe and hit the bell icon. Hype the video as well. Apparently that helps more people see it. We're on the road to 20,000 subscribers. Quite daunting. We're quite far off it, but I'm saying 20,000. That is the next target. Thank you so much for the support, and I'll see you in the next one. I've been Jag from Jags Watches. Peace.